Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another daily movie review, and spooky season continues on. Today, we're going to be talking about the film Found Footage 3D, original or released in 2016. Look at this lenticular lens. Let me show you this, buddy. Whoa, that's called horror movies. Yeah, Found Footage 3D came out in 2016. Like I said, it is now a Shudder exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. It even says Shudder on the box. See right here? This is an example of my sickness, okay? This is an example of how fucking depraved I am. That if I can find something for a couple bucks, I will buy it. Okay? I got fucking problems. I saw this movie before I bought it. I had seen it. And spoiler alert, I think it's not great. But anyways, I had seen it before I bought it. And then I saw I could buy it for $5. And then I looked at the back. I was like, oh, it's got commentary with the producers. It's got commentary with the directors. I was like, oh my God. I was excited. I was excited to listen to these commentaries. I love listening to commentaries for movies I don't particularly care for. So if out there, just let me tell you something, DVD or Blu-ray people make decisions whether something gets on disc or not. Let me tell you something. There are sickos out there like me that will fucking buy a movie they don't like if there's an audio commentary on it. Just make it reasonable. Make it the cost reasonable, please. I will wait for it to be in a bin somewhere or a clearance rack or whatever. I will do that. So maybe you're not going to see returns immediately, but I'll tell you what, your long-term gains, it's going to pay off for you. So anyways, this film is directed by Steven DeGennaro, written by Steven DeGennaro. It stars Carter Roy, Elena von Stroheim, Chris O'Brien, Tom Saporito, Scott Allen Perry, Jessica Perrin, and Scott Weinberg, the awful hack movie critic. He's a genre critic. He's not a good writer. He's not a good representation of the industry. He also is in this. He's a producer. I think he actually even co-wrote the movie. He does not have a writing credit, though. So, the plot synopsis, or the logline plot synopsis here on IMDb says, a group of filmmakers set out to make the first 3D found footage horror movie, but find themselves in a found footage horror movie when the evil entity from their film escapes into their behind-the-scenes footage. So this is like, it's supposed to be part satire, part meta commentary on the nature of found footage movies. It's one of these kind of movies that starts to fold in on itself at some point. And it has all the hallmarks of one of those movies. And that's the hard thing when you're doing a commentary on a genre or a type of movie or whatever, is that at some point, like, you are just that thing. And there's only so much like kind of tap or hat tipping and winking at the audience you can do before it doesn't really matter. Like, not everything's going to land. So at some point, you actually have to become a good example of what you're critiquing in some sense, right? Or what you're parodying or having fun with in a satirical way. The first 45 minutes of this movie, much to my own surprise, when I first saw it and I revisited it the other day, I wanted to give it a fair shake. I had my preconceptions, but I did want to give it a fair shake. The first 45 minutes actually 45 minutes to an hour actually works pretty well. It works in a meta sense. It works in a sense of, like, if you know anything about like low budget film production, there's a lot of clever stuff where the script that they're working with and the things that actually happen on set, they start kind of mirroring and paralleling, and then that kind of leads into the nature of the place they're at. There's some decent reveals. There's even some decent performances, actually. I think, if anything, I could say, relative to low budget found footage horror movies, performance wise, one of the better ones. There is a few standouts for sure. I think Scott Allen Perry is probably the big standout because he has the least serious of the roles. He's a lot of fun, and I actually really appreciated him in this movie. He makes the movie watchable when at times you would think like maybe not so much. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff works for a while, and then when it has to become the thing that it's talking about, it really stops being interesting, almost full stop. Like, I could not buy into what they were trying to achieve. And then it gets too meta. Scott Weinberg, the critic that I was speaking of earlier, actually shows up in the movie as himself to cover the making of this movie for some shitty blog that he's probably working for, writing for at the time. Am I a little hostile towards Scott Weinberg? Maybe. I think he's just this one of these fucking neurotic losers that is mediocre and has just been allowed to fail forward his entire fucking career because he's, I don't know, maybe he's a nice guy. That's probably what it is. So I'm probably besmirching somebody who's a really nice person, but I find his public persona to be really obnoxious. I don't understand the appeal of it at all. Um, yeah, and I just like it draws too much attention to itself. It becomes self-aware in a bad way. Well, because at that point in the movie, it's trying to actually like kind of execute on what it is, which should be like an interesting, spooky ghost movie. Yeah, it just kind of falls apart from there. It stops. Starts feeling very contrived. The sense of escalation stops being kind of subtle and interesting, and some of the character dynamics, and it just becomes very cliche ridden, for lack of a better way to put it. You know, maybe that's my ignorance. Maybe I'm not aware of something that they're trying to achieve or accomplish. To be fair, that's totally possible. I've watched a lot of found footage movies. It is something I have some sort of weird thing about. I really enjoy watching found footage movies, good, bad, whatever. I like a gimmick. I like to see if what people can do with a gimmick, and every once in a while you get very pleasantly surprised. You know, there are definitely some good ones out there. There's some real gems out there. I would say Wreck is a pretty good one. It was remade in America. It's a Spanish movie, and it was remade in America, and it was called Quarantine. Actually, and both of them are not. They're not bad. Both of them are actually pretty good. But Wreck, Spanish language one, is better. And I also kind of really like The Last Exorcism. It's like this fake documentary style one. I really enjoyed that. That's what's coming to mind. I know there's some other ones in there. I just have to hunker down and think about it. But yeah, I just think ultimately ends up being kind of a failure. And I don't know. And then you just kind of leave frustrated or mildly annoyed, maybe bored by the end of the movie. I don't think the 3D stuff is really all that good or interesting. I'm not sure it really warrants the extra thing. And you don't have to watch it in 3D. I have watched it in 3D with the old glasses, which is cool. It actually, you know, much to their credit, even when it's on Shudder and when you buy it, it comes with these 3D glasses. And when it premiered on Shudder, all you have to do is email them, and I think they'd mail you a pair with like the Shudder logo on it and stuff. I actually already had some from My Bloody Valentine 3D. I already had some like the old school ones, so when I watched it the first time, I actually watched it in that old school 3D. Probably not worth it because I don't think they don't do enough with it. But I mean, like I said, there's limits to gimmicks. You know, you can only go so far. There's only so many times somebody can go like that. You know, and that's really the extent of what they do. I mean, maybe if I saw it in like the kind of the real 3D with the polarized lenses and stuff on a 3D TV, like maybe then it would play better. The 3D may feel more impactful. Maybe it would work better. I don't know. They're not, obviously, this is not a big budget movie. It's a low budget movie, and I can't imagine the 3D is that dynamic. But you never know. You know? You never know. And it's hard to watch 3D stuff with like handheld films and the way they shoot this kind of stuff. It's you know, can make you sick. I never felt sick myself, but I feel like I had a mild headache. That could have just been the movie though. That could have just been the movie. What else of note? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the movie itself. One of the funny things, like I mentioned, like I buy these because of the audio commentaries, and I did listen to the audio commentary with the producers, with Scott Weinberg, Randy Ludwig, and Charles Mulford. Let's say that. And it is a hilarious audio commentary for unintentionally hilarious. They actually spend like the first 10 minutes or so scolding themselves for not being inclusive enough, and that they hire too many white people. So if you're into that kind of thing, the self-scolding, it was just awkward. It's just weird. It's just like, yeah, I mean, if you want to feel that way and you want to feel like you should hire more black people or more, you know, ethnic people, I guess, whatever, go for it. But to sit there and like virtue signal in the audio commentary for your own movie just shows you how fucking weird these people are. That they're even basically calling themselves like evil colonizers. You know? Maybe you guys are though. Maybe you are. Maybe you're just racist assholes. Seems like a little bit what you are sometimes in terms of this rhetoric that you kind of just blindly repeat without having really any real critical thought about it. So that is definitely entertaining. Made me happy that I bought the movie just so I could hear that. Just so I could hear these woke assholes scold themselves while they're making a fucking genre horror movie. It's so funny. Like some of the people involved in this industry have all become kind of like woke scolds, right? So many of them, while they also simultaneously like celebrate the most misogynistic, degrading, evil, fucking violence, gore-filled shit on the planet. Like, you know, who doesn't love that 70s grindhouse aesthetic? Oh, I love me some what's his name? Me some Cohen, King Cohen. Yeah, okay, guys. You're fucking losers. Like it's so fucking embarrassing. People are just slowly eroding and ruining shit, and it's happening in real time with the genre stuff, with the criticism, because now all these people, they all live like in the same area and they all support each other, and now they're all getting involved in the film industry and in the indie horror film industry. So now we're just gonna have mediocre Blumhouse movies, big studio tent poles, and we're gonna have fucking these awful, $750,000 woke fucking horror movies. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. You know, that's the worst part about all of this. So like some of this shit is so fucking thoughtless and shallow. Like there's no subtext in any of these fucking movies these people make a lot of the times. There's a few good ones out there. I'm not gonna even if their politics are that way, I don't know, because they don't chastise themselves on fucking audio commentaries like weirdos. You know, you gotta respect what you gotta. I appreciate things. Like honestly, if they hadn't done that on that audio commentary, I wouldn't have be like, just like, ugh, you're so fucking gross. You guys are so gross. It's like they know that it's gonna be like a guy like me and 15 of their friends are the only people that are gonna listen to this audio commentary, and they gotta let their friends know, like, hey guys, we understand. This is problematic. You know, we're problematic. We understand we have really fucked this up. We're white people. We worked with white people. It's so exhausting. It's fucking just the most exhausting shit on the planet. Just fucking, leave your messaging and your politics, leave it in the movie. Like, leave it in the subtext of what the story you're trying to tell. If you have to fucking explain it to me, I don't need to know your fucking worldview about how bad you feel that you didn't. It was weird. I know I'm kind of harping on it, but it was weird. It was weird. I found it weird. And on me, totally, good guy Shaun, totally normal, accessible, affable person. I don't understand where that comes from, I don't get those kind of impulses. How can you be a grown-ass person and still pandering to fucking anybody that will tell you, good job. Good job, buddy. This need to be liked that social media has created. This need to be liked by a clique that you want to be involved in. It's like, you have a microcosm of it when you're in your real life or when you're in high school or whatever, and then you just take it online and you take the same principle and you just blow it the fuck up. Fucking wild. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, bunch of links in the description for Facebook, Instagram, and my personal Twitter. Also, if you would like to leave make a recommendation for one of these daily videos, throw it in the comments. We'll put it on the list. Try to make it a horror movie. It's October. I'm doing a lot of these in advance, but I will be caught up. I'm going on vacation, so I'm just trying to get some stuff loaded. But I will be caught up by the time you probably watch this, or close to it. So throw a horror movie in there, and I'll check it out. All right, everybody. Goodbye.